what I got to say is this, is when you're going to get all kinds of different views on this. Bigfoot Silva has basically been shut down in North America as far as fighting.
Jeez.
Based upon health concerns. Your regulators have looked at his medicals and said, hey, you shouldn't be fighting anymore. That means that there's things that medically they're seeing, that the ringside physicians are seeing when he turns in his medicals, that they're saying we're seeing problems. Now you have his management. So his management then goes and says, okay, we can bypass the regulatory bodies by going to places like Russia or, other places in that area. And we can do fights without having regulation. We can do fights where it doesn't matter what your medicals say and you can still get paid. So is his management doing him a favor? I guess in the moment you can say, yes, they're doing him a favor because he's getting paid and he's able to pay his bills and stuff. All I'm saying is you're going to see Bigfoot Silva not having a long life, and you're going to see him having just a plethora of problems coming. And we've seen it with too many fighters in the past. Pugilistic dementia is real. Now we also call it now CTE. All right. But these things are real. And when you've got things like chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a real disease that fighters, football players, people in contact sports get all the time. We've had a ton of people lose their lives based upon they take their lives knowing that they have issues. They just don't know how to deal with those issues. That's what we have when you're talking about Bigfoot Silva, and he should not be fighting. I know it's hard to sit there and say, oh, well, then what does he do? I don't have the answer for that. I really don't. But I do know that every shot that he takes is taking days off of his life. And when you watch this, you watch the shots that he takes, don't even look at all of the shots he takes. I want you to go all the way, Dave. Go to the point where he finally decides, after the fight's been stopped, he tries to move. And we're talking about a professional athlete that moves like an 85-year-old man. Because he takes these shots. Finally, this guy stops it. He's stuck in the corner. He didn't go down.
Now
watch him start
away.
to walk. Now, and he's using, what's he using? He's using the ropes for balance, too. And watch him walking away. A professional athlete does not walk that way. A professional athlete doesn't need ropes for balance. He's taking too many shots. He is, if I don't know how to say it, if we were able to see the damage that man's brain has taken now from combat sports and now is continuing to take because they're allowing him to fight in other places, it's a tragedy that his management, his team are still allowing him to fight because you're not doing him any favors. You're killing him.
There's a, I don't know how to say, I'm going to try to put this the best way I can. I didn't take a lot of damage throughout my career, at least not until towards the end. I think, I had some damage in the Hermes Franca fight. I had some, the Eve fight was one shot. It was on the neck, not even so much on the head. And then the Tony Ferguson fight. I didn't take a lot of damage throughout my career. Yep. And I can tell you guys that I've been blessed enough to where I can still hold a conversation. But there's moments where I'm like, fuck, what was I just saying? And it's not, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass. And we know everyone says, oh, I left my keys. I don't know where they're at. No, I notice it a little bit differently than most. You're aware. And like I said, one of the biggest things for not just athletes is to be honest with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it's time for me to quit fighting. I'm slowing down. I'm taking too many shots in training and then in the fight as well. It's not even so much the shots you take during this fight. It's the shots you take getting ready for the fight as well in training. So all the guys you train with, those guys are piecing you up as well. So there's a lot of times that you understand, like, I'm not cut out for this anymore. So all that damage you're taking throughout, it's not just the prep, it's not just the fight, it's the preparation for the fight that allows you to take that much damage. And when you get into the fight and you get knocked out the way he's been getting knocked out, he's gonna end up having serious issues.
Yes.
And I agree with you, John, that I would blame a lot on his management. Stop booking him fights. Stop. You're not doing anything for him. And I want to know that you've gotten to that point now as a manager that now you're just a greedy fuck.
Thank you.
And that's really what it comes down to is, why are you booking him fights? Does he need money? Find him another avenue. Get him autograph signings. Do whatever it is you can do to help him that way. Get him sponsors that will pay him $500 a month for him to do autograph signings or YouTube videos, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Do something else, because right now you're complicit on helping kill this man. It's gotten to that point, and now you're just a greedy piece of shit. And that's where it really, the line needs to be drawn. And sure, you're taking him to other countries, and maybe he thinks you're helping him, but in reality,
you're not.
I think it's gotten to the point where he doesn't understand what's going on. Like, he thinks, oh, I just want to keep, maybe no one's ever sat him down and told him, like, hey, you really can't do this. You can't do this anymore. Your time is up. It's over. And as a fighter, that was like, I've noticed, and I still to this day, I will be having a conversation with someone, and it's the whole conversation is gone. You're like, huh? What were we just talking about? Like, and it's a shitty situation to be in. But like I said, I've been more blessed than a lot of other fighters. I look at a lot of these fighters that we've all admired for years, but they're gonna have a lot of problems later on.
Oh,
and these guys that have been barn burners of fights.
Oh,
yeah.
We just did talk. I always had my thing of, hey, if you get knocked out 3 times, it's time to start looking for your next moment in life. Mm-hmm. What's coming next? Because those 3, that's about the limit where you're not going to have really lasting effects. Once you get past it, you start to really have these giant chunks of your life that start to get infected by the damage that you're taking being that professional fighter. And how many times, if we looked up how many times Bigfoot Silva has been knocked out, I mean, it's way up there, and it's crazy to think that this is still occurring.
John, I got knocked out by Eves back in like 2003 or 4.
That was called a brachial stun. You got hit on the nerve of the neck, and that's really what caused it. I think your brain was still there. Your body just couldn't move.
I don't think my brain's ever been there. But that fight, and then again, like when I look at Hermes Franca, I got dropped in that fight. And then when I fought, and then I never really took a lot of damage. So I took some damage in a couple of the, obviously in the gill fights, a lot of damage in those fights. But it wasn't super bad. It was like little abrasions here, fat lip, little tiny stuff.
That's superficial.
But there was a lot of shots being delivered. I mean, I had bumps on my head.
How much your brain is getting rattled.
So, and I had lumps on my head. In the second gill fight, I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep sitting up with a neck roll pillow. And the same thing with the Tony Ferguson fight. I took a ton of damage in that fight. I knew the time had came when I fought Patricky and I got dropped with a headbutt. And when I went back and watched the fight, it wasn't a hard headbutt.
No.
It wasn't like he hit me, bam. We actually hit face to face.
Yeah.
It wasn't like his head hit me right in my, we both just collided face to face. He had the harder noggin, and that's really what it came down to. He sat me to my ass, and when I realized that, look, I've ran in like head to head against a lot of these other guys in training.
Yeah, you do all the time.
Banged heads all the time. You bang heads, never been dropped. And in this situation, I got sat, and the rest of it was history. Once you get rocked, it makes it easier to get knocked out.
Yep.
I just realized it was time. Like, that's only 4 times. That's only 2 times I've been knocked out. 2 times, if you could say 2 times. Yep. There was some damage in the process. The Hermes Franca fight, I got dropped in the 3rd. The 3 gill fights I took a lot of damage in those, but like all you said, superficial, but it was still, there was a lot of shots in a 5-round fight. And then the Tony fight, and those fights, I'm feeling these effects. And I had a lot of fights. I had a lot of fights before I even got to the UFC. He is getting knocked out over and over and over again.
Go to breathefume.com/weighing in and use the promo code weighing in to get 10% off right now.